You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters.
Hello, fellow stargazers. The sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome everyone to our episode of Sister Stargazers. And we are in the thick of it.
We are totally in the thick of it, yeah. And we are covering this week, Sunday, November 14th, 2021 through Saturday, November 20th, 2001. So let's just jump in and get started. Where do you want to start?
Well, we have an eclipse this week on Friday. Yes, it's very exciting. If we can just hold on to our hats.
And this is a lunar eclipse.
This is a partial lunar eclipse. The eclipse will be visible throughout most of Eastern Russia, Japan, Pacific Ocean, North America, Mexico, Central America, and parts of South America.
Gotcha.
So what we'll see is just a shadow, a little sliver of the Earth's shadow hitting on the moon. And then that part of the moon will go dark. And then the other part of the moon will be kind of a ruddy reddish color.
And this is on the 19th, Friday, the 19th of November.
Yes, this is Friday the 19th. So before we get there, we've got some aspects coming up in the week that are really, of course, they're powerful. Everything is kind of happening in the Taurus, Scorpio axis. So in the beginning of the week, on Monday, we have the sun in Scorpio. And this is just a very deep feeling because Mercury's in Scorpio and the sun is right there. You know, a lot of deep feelings will be kind of churned up for folks.
Okay.
The sun is also in this position opposing and working into an opposition to Algol, which will be exact at the time of the eclipse. So Algol is the quote unquote demon star in the head of Medusa that Perseus chops off. And we can get to that mythology.
Right.
So the sun will be in Scorpio squaring Jupiter at 22 degrees Aquarius. So there's a sense that you're really working hard to like make sense of these feelings. So Scorpio is like bringing things up, and then that square to Jupiter is magnifying them, but also trying to make sense of them because that's what Aquarius likes to do. It likes to categorize and be scientific and, you know, kind of dissect and make it logical. But it's not always that easy when you have these feelings.
That's the nature of feelings, is that they're really hard to objectify. That's why they're called feelings as opposed to, you know, objects, is that you have a sense of something, a feeling of something. And that's sort of the wading through that you have to do as a feeling comes up. But it sounds like there's a lot of them. They're coming fast and they're magnified.
Right. And then at the end of the week, with this eclipse, you have Mercury moving into that position of squaring Jupiter. So it's kind of this bookend event, and it will continue on past the eclipse, but the eclipse will be kind of a highlight for it, where you're bringing up stuff, or you're kind of going through this inventory of stuff.
Right.
It's also magnified and in a way clarified. So magnified and clarified.
Yes.
It's very intense. I don't know how else to say it.
I think intense is the best word we have. It just, there's an intensity and how we're going to navigate that.
So the moon will be moving through Taurus beginning on Tuesday. And as it moves into Taurus, it's going to highlight the Mars opposition to Uranus.
Yep.
So the feelings that are brought up will be surprising, activated. You want to act on them. You want to change something. You want to do something about these feelings. You want to make them right. So it's going to be highlighted. Now, it can bring up rash behavior. It can bring up anger, that you become angry about something surprising, something has hit you or is changing.
Yeah.
And it's happening quickly, kind of unexpectedly.
Got it. So before we get to the eclipse energy, I feel like this would be a good moment just to point out a few tips. And one of the tips we have for this week is to try to keep our system calm, keep our system relaxed. So one practical tip we want to offer is Epsom salts and soaking your feet. So another way to kind of ground, connect, warm water on the feet, relax. Epsom helps draw out from your system. So that's a really good tip we just want to throw right here. And another one is very gentle rolling through the neck rolls, head rolls, to again, just invite some release of tension, energy up into the head and neck to soothe, keep calm.
Yeah. And if you don't have anybody to help you do like a neck massage, you can also get a tennis ball and work on that, like up against a wall, up around your upper back,
Yes.
upper shoulder. That is where a lot of tension will be held at this eclipse. It's a common area, but just because Taurus rules the neck, you can hold a lot of tension there. Yeah.
Let's move into this eclipse conversation because it sounds fascinating. And I'd love to return to these aspects of the star, this blinking eye star, Algol. And I'd like to remind everybody too. So a lunar eclipse, you've got the sun on one side, the earth in the middle, and a full moon on the opposite side in this line. And the sun is hitting the earth and the earth is casting a shadow onto the moon's surface. And because this is a partial lunar eclipse, you'll only see a fragment of the moon sort of in this shadowy state. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be unsettling not only to look at in the sky because it just looks weird that the moon is being shadowed,
missing part of itself.
Right.
Someone took a bite out of the moon.
But you could say that, you might feel like you're missing part of yourself, that there's a sense that you can't reach, you can't touch the thing that you really need to be in touch with. But you're also compelled by Mars being in Scorpio to want to act on something. So I just want to caution that with Mars being so activated, squaring Saturn, it's surprising, rash, impulsive energy, and that you can pick up on that or not. If you pick up on it, just be prepared that you're not going to get very far because Mars is squaring Saturn. Saturn is squaring Uranus. So it's the nature of the time to not get the most out of your action.
Yeah.
The other piece of this is that Mercury and the Sun are making a trine to Neptune at the time of this full moon. So that, again, it can be a really numinous experience for getting in touch with your feelings in a positive way. But because Neptune is so expansive, it can also signify that it increases the confusion.
Yes.
It can add like a beautiful, uplifting, mystical quality to this full moon, but it can also add confusion or even feeling like you've been deceived, because that's just the double edge of Neptune.
Yeah.
If you feel inspired, that's also action that you can take to make art, to employ Venus, because Venus is trine to Uranus in this full moon. So Venus trine Uranus is really, pick up the inspiration, channel it to beauty, to something you love, and that will give you the most bang for your energy.
Yes. That's really encouraging to hear because I think when we do get sucked into these feelings, and they can be low vibrational feelings, how do you get out of those feelings? So to know that Venus is there, she is there to help us, she's there to help inspire us and to keep the vibe to a higher place so that we don't get sucked into the feeling. And it's important to also let the feeling move through. And I think Venus can help with that. So music, art, finding beauty, finding those ways to recharge when you can get stuck in these lower vibrational sensations.
Yeah, and lower vibrations are anger,
Yes.
envy, jealousy, spite, revenge,
Yes.
All that stuff that really pulls you down to like a level of like not good.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just saying
That's
it's
right.
just like,
yeah.
It's like it doesn't help
low.
anything.
It doesn't help anything. But it's good to know that's where I am. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling this spite, this rage, this envy, this anger. Great. You recognize it. You don't have to act on it. And then how do you then transform this energy to a higher vibration? And that's, of course, where Venus can help us. So you mentioned earlier the star Algol, and why it's significant is because it is located in pretty much the same area where the moon will be located at this degree of Taurus. It lives in 28 degrees Taurus. And this eclipse, this moon is in 27-degree Taurus. So Algol, if we could, what is this star? It's the star, it's the blinking eye of Medusa, but what else can we share about this star?
Yeah, it's a binary star system, and Algol is in the head of Medusa in the constellation of Perseus. So we have this binary star system, and one of the stars is rotating around the other. And as it rotates around its primary star, it goes out of sight, it goes dim for 10 hours, and then it comes back and is illuminated, and then it's full strength, and then it dims again and goes around its star. So in Greek mythology, Algol represents the head of the Medusa Gorgon. She was like one of the last of her kind. She had snakes for hair.
Yeah.
And she would turn anyone to stone who looked at her. And so she was beheaded by Perseus, who used her head after he cut it off,
right,
to turn to stone the monster, the sea monster, to save Andromeda, the princess who was chained by her father to a rock.
Yeah.
So the head of Medusa he gave to Athena, who used it as a protective shield.
Right.
Athena is often seen with a shield that has the Gorgon Medusa's head on it.
Yeah.
Athena gave Perseus the mirror.
Right. It was this bronze mirrored shield that had magical properties. It was this mirrored shield that gave Perseus the power or the ability to confront Medusa without the threat that her eye would turn him to stone. So the mirror allowed him to locate her and confront her without the danger of being turned to stone.
The work that Medusa did in the world was to help crystallize or
concretize, yeah.
Right?
Right.
You know, which can be a good thing. You know, it can bring ideas to fruition.
Right.
To have that drive, to have that power, to have that push, especially creative ideas.
And for our own sort of analogous, being petrified of our own options or petrified of our own feelings or being stopped because of the feelings that are coming up. But then to also realize, again, tying this back to Venus, that we can transform what is put in front of us and raise it up, and that the mirror is a tool to reflect back to us what it is we're resisting, what it is that is so stuck, to be able to then confront it and transform it. And that's what I feel that energy ties this whole eclipse together. All this stuff is coming up. It can be petrifying, terrifying, scary. It freezes us. We don't know what to do with it. But to then take the opportunity to see if there's a way we can elevate it or even just prepare it, to know it's there, to prepare it for transformation. We don't have to transform it in the moment, but it's nice that we can sort of recognize it's there and know that we have the power, we have the ability to transform it.
Yes, and there is another eclipse coming in December. So it's not, so this is a powerful time of change. You know, you can recognize that there is change needed.
Yeah.
And there is also the opportunity for us to think about how to move forward. And we don't have to know the answers right now. We just need to know that we have to change.
That's it.
You had some affirmations, Sarah, that were really cool.
Well, there's this really amazing book by Louise Hay, and it's called You Can Heal Your Life. And it's really about the use of affirmations to change. And of course, this book was written in the 80s, in the early 80s. And now there's so much neurological research about retraining your brain through positive affirmations, rewiring, recircuiting, rerouting bad thoughts or negative feelings into positive ones. So she was sort of I would guess, on the forefront of this movement as holistic alternative options were becoming available. And today, as we were talking, I opened up the book with no idea where I was going to land, and it opened to mirrors. It reads, mirrors reflect back to us our feelings about ourselves. They show us clearly the areas to be changed if we want to have a joyous, fulfilling life. The most powerful way to do affirmations is to look in a mirror and say them out loud. You are immediately aware of the resistance and can move through it quicker. Use a mirror often for affirmations and to check where you are resisting and where you are open and flowing. Look in a mirror and say to yourself, I am willing to change. Notice how you feel. If you are hesitant, resistant, or just don't want to change, ask yourself why. What old belief are you holding on to? This is not a time to scold yourself. Just notice what is going on and what belief rises to the surface. That is the one that has been causing you a lot of trouble. Can you recognize where it came from? When we do our affirmations and they don't feel right or nothing seems to happen, it's easy to say, oh, affirmations don't work. It's not the affirmations that don't work. It's the way we need to do another step before we begin affirmations.
Exactly. That's perfect. And Venus trine Uranus is really asking us to bring it higher, to find the beauty, to bless it, and if there's somebody in your life that you don't need there anymore, or that's, that you're thinking about eclipsing out, bless them and send them on their way.
Yes.
Hold no revenge, hold no ill in your heart. Just let it go.
Yes.
I had an experience recently where you get a notification from Google when you can disconnect from being associated with another person's email or being a backup email. And so just hitting the disconnect button, disconnect my energy from that energy.
Let it go. Yeah.
Just separate it and that's it. It's just done. So bless it and send it on its way.
Let it go. The only last thing I'd like to add for today is when we get ready to do this, I usually pull a card from a deck just to see where's the energy. And literally kind of flew out of the deck was the Empress card. And the Empress card is the embodiment of Venus and the goddess of love. And I think in this, for my own interpretation today, not necessarily romantic love, but love, like love for yourself, love for others, the ability to bless the energy and give it love and send it on its way. And just one of the things that I'm reading here from a different book called Pathworking the Tarot by Lisa Robertson, she just has a line here that said, it is within the Empress, and I'm for here our purposes reading Venus, that we start to see that maybe the way we have defined the world is not as concrete as we first thought. So again, this idea going back to Medusa, turning things to stone or things being frozen or things being, not always. There is the power for transformation and ideas where we're stuck, we can transform. It is transformable.
That's beautiful. Plus, I love that card. Because she has little pomegranates on her dress that are actually the sign of Venus.
Oh my gosh, the pomegranate. Hello, episode 7. Go back and listen about the pomegranate.
And she's got Venus on her shield.
She also, I would like to say, I know she's holding a scepter, but when I look at it, it's like she's holding up the light. And that to me, again, is like, hold up your light. Keep it high, friends. Keep it high. And she's on our side. She wants to help. Venus wants to show us the way.
And she's in the evening sky.
Yes.
I mean, you can go out and look at her.
Yes.
She's rising higher every evening.
And it's brilliant. It's stunning. If you can get to a place to look towards the western sky after sunset, it's so stunning. She's stunning. Just stunning.
Yeah, dazzling. Yeah.
Oh man. Speaking of dazzling and stunning, my sister.
My sister. Wow. This is awesome.
And so friends out there, please like and share and send it on to people who you think could use a little bit of this uplifting energy. This is our goal, is to help you all find access to ways of just improving and finding joy and wonder and love. And so please like and share. Thanks for listening. Keep the vibes high. Jude, love ya.
Love you too, Sarah.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.